Vandeham Sri Guru.
I don't know, I've tried meditating in the past. I find it hard to, my mind is overly active and it's really hard to.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah,
I mean, club for, we call it Vedic Vision, actually we should call it the Active Mind Club.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good experience to try.
Okay, alright. Someone else?
Just fun stuff, very stressing, and I'd like to find like some peace and meditation.
Oh, something stressful, some peace, very nice. Okay. Anyone else? Angie?
Well, I used to go like to meditation back home, so I just wanna like
Back home, where is back home?
Mexico City.
Okay.
So I just wanna like do it again. So.
So for some, like I said, this will be very new. You have good penmanship? Okay, can you write the Hare Krishna mantra? And can someone help pass out these? Can you help? Take one and give one to others. Oh, there's someone. Take one and then give others. We'll talk about that as well. You guys think the room is warm? It's hot, isn't it? Usual. Excuse me. I'll make you write a thing. Tushar is here. I was actually going to call you the other day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, or send you an email. Like, we haven't seen you in 2 weeks.
Just got very busy in
It's like,
school.
oh, either he must be busy or something else. And if I hadn't seen you today, I would have written you tonight. But anyway, I'm glad. Okay. So I'll say a few things again just because you guys were not there past 2 weeks. There are many mantras, but it's not that any words, if you just keep repeating, that acts as a mantra. It's not the case. Okay, there was a PhD thesis on this in the University of Florida. There's a student who did his PhD dissertation on this topic. He took 3 groups. One group didn't do anything. They just did what they were doing normally every day. The second group, he gave a mantra that was made up of certain words. They didn't mean anything. They just made up a mantra. And the third group got this, it's called the Hare Krishna mantra. And for about a period of 2 months or 3 months, they all were to follow a particular, routine. Meaning don't do anything extraordinary. There's certain things that they would do, recite this mantra, let's say, every day. So group A, for them, they didn't do anything like this. Group B recited every day for half an hour or whatever the period of time, I forget, the made-up fictitious mantra. And the third, this mantra. Like in medical research, if they're testing a medicine, they give one group the actual medicine, and another group they give a placebo to see if there are differences. Generally, the one with the medicine works better. That's what idea is in medicine, not just placebo. So what he found out is the first group, Group A, that didn't have any meditation practice or modality in their lives, they felt disturbed, bothered, mind was racing, whatever, different things were happening. Group B, that made up the fictitious mantra, they didn't feel any significant difference. It was just something they were doing. It didn't make a significant difference. And secondly, they got bored because there was some random words made up. The third group that did this mantra, they found that their stresses significantly reduced. They became calmer and happier actually. And the fourth is they felt like doing more and more. So this is the difference between material sound and spiritual sound. This is spiritual sound vibration. I'll just explain one thing and then we'll try to get into this. Material sound has a characteristic that the object and the sound are not the same. For example, water, right? Like water in the water bottle that I have. So when I'm thirsty, when I say water, 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 my thirst doesn't quench. I don't have the experience of water because the word water and the actual object water are not the same. Is that clear? True? In spiritual sound, the word and the object of the word, they are the same, they're non-different. For example, the word Rama means the reservoir of all pleasure. So when I say Rama, Rama, that means I am contacting the source of all happiness and pleasure. So I also feel happiness and pleasure because the sound and the object are non-different. But again, I'm contrasting. In this material sphere, if I'm feeling cold, just because I say fire, fire, I don't feel heat. Right? But if I come closer to fire, then I feel the warmth. So like that, through sound, we bring our mind in contact with Rama. The word Krishna, so I'll explain this mantra. 3 words, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. Krishna means that aspect of the Supreme, that divine consciousness that is attractive, that attracts us. So we are attracted to things and people in this world because spiritually we have, our nature is to be attracted to the source from where we came. It's called the Supreme, from which everything comes. That is called Krishna, that attractive quality or feature of the Supreme. Rama means we are all looking for happiness in whatever we do. That's the search for us. There isn't anything that we do to not be happy. Whether it is studying, eating, sleeping, relationships, music, whatever it is, it's so that we extract some happiness out of it. True? Is there anything we do to extract misery out of? No. So Rama means the source of all happiness. So when we connect to the source, so we get happiness. Just as I may plug my device to this socket here, but when I plug the device to this socket, I'm actually connected to the source where electricity is generated. Although I don't have to be there. Correct? When I connect here, this connects to the main switch. The main switch is connected to the transformer on location here. The transformer actually taps electricity from the powerhouse. The powerhouse gets it from the substation where electricity is actually generated. Although I'm just plugging my device here. Similarly, by calling the sound Rama, we're connecting to the source of all pleasure and happiness. And Hare is the medium by which we make that contact. Just as if I were to make a phone call to you, the airwaves are the medium by which I'm contacting you. So Hare is the medium. It's described that the energy of the Supreme that attracts the mind and the consciousness to that source of pleasure. And the Vedas describe that the mind is generally disturbed, or we feel stress because the mind gets agitated, is because there is something lacking. What is lacking is happiness or satisfaction. So when we contact, or when we meditate on this mantra, then we fill that void with happiness. So the mind becomes calm, happy, and it's directed towards the goal of life, is for self-realization. Okay? Okay. Ready? We're going to do for the next 10 minutes. So I would like you to sit in a comfortable position. A comfortable position actually is with your back erect. Meditation. If the back is not erect, the first thing that will happen is you fall asleep. So get your back erect, feet nicely planted on the floor. Okay. I'm going to show you this, and then with your, there's this main bead here with the orange thread like this. Okay. So that's the main bead, but the bead after, that's the first one. We'll hold with our right hand between our thumb and middle finger. Like this. Thumb and middle finger.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm following my own way.
Fine. Okay. And so repeat after me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Okay. That's the whole mantra. What we do is, this is our first bead, it is to help us count. We don't have to count physically, 1, 2, 3, it's not necessary. This will help us count. So generally, this is how it is done. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You go to the next beat. You push with the thumb and go to the next beat. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Next beat. Yeah? Okay. Now, close your eyes, and the tendency for the mind is to run. As soon as you start to tell the mind, hey, I need you to focus, the mind has a tendency to run. So it's all right. But the moment you notice that the mind has run away, you bring the mind back to focusing on the sound of the mantra, Hare Krishna. So hear it. To hear it with attention means your mind is here. Don't evaluate anything. Don't think about when is lunch, is the room too hot, too cold, why am I doing this, what's my schedule for tomorrow. Avoid all of that. And the way to avoid it is to bring the mind back to the sound of Hare Krishna, like that. So we're going to do this chanting in unison. So it's not different people, different. And we'll go at this pace. So tell me if this pace is comfortable for you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay? And if for some reason you don't know the mantra, it's the first time, it's perfectly okay to look here and focus on the mantra here if it helps you. If you know it by heart so far, that's great. You don't have to look at it. But if it helps you, then look at it. But try to bring your mind back to the sound of the mantra, wherever it runs away. And then we're going to come back, do a little analysis, and then try again. Okay? Okay, let's start. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Okay. Good job. Anyone like to volunteer their experience? Okay, for how many of you is the first time ever? First time ever for you also? Okay. All right. So, any volunteers? Should I pick on someone, or should?
I'll say I kind of bounced around between my room, my bedroom, my home, being in the sunlight earlier,
Yeah.
being back in this room, feeling my mouth dry, hearing the words and sometimes just nothing. And it was like I was coming back from somewhere, I don't know where, and hearing myself say these words and almost getting tripped up, not knowing what I was saying, but I was just saying the words. And then returning to the presence of this room. And
did you make any conscious effort to bring your mind back to these words?
at times, yes. I mean, at times, thinking of the meanings of the words and kind of expelling some things I've been, that have been on my mind, some negative things, just kind of feeling that slip away.
Ah, very good. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
I kind of didn't, I was focusing initially on my own words, then I started wandering to other voices, saying words. I noticed there was difference in chants
Yeah.
and voices.
This one person here was faster than the other one. I felt that.
Then I focused on this as well sometimes. Where am I in this? And the texture, how it feels, and am I doing it right? It was tough bringing it back also. I wasn't sure whether to focus on the words themselves or my own voice. That's the question.
The word, there's a sound of.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The sound. We are making the sound, so that's the sound.
Okay.
Someone else?
Yeah, for me it was kind of as well the same, that I was first listening actually to the others for the words, but then after a while I just start saying the words without even thinking about it, and like just feel kind of right, and and then I felt as well my mouth getting dry a little bit, and like a couple times thinking about some stuff, like about the school and all that, but then I felt in like this kind of, I don't know if it's a trance or whatever, but I just feel like thinking about nothing, just about the words, like hearing them, and then after, at the end, I was like now I'm really calm and all that.
In physics, there is an important principle called resonance. And we hear or we study resonance in physics, architecture maybe also. And common application is tuning fork. To tune a piano, right? You hit the tuning fork, and each tuning fork has a particular frequency it vibrates in. And when you move it across the piano strings, the frequency, when it matches, it's called resonance. That's when the piano string will vibrate and you know which one to tune. So think of resonance when you're doing this meditation. That as the soul, who we are, not we are, I mean, I'm not Angie or Ricardo or Maurice or Krishna, no, not like that. But as spiritual entities, our consciousness as a spiritual being has a particular frequency, if you will. Not really that you can measure, but think of it that way. There's a frequency. And that frequency is perfectly resonant with the Hare Krishna mantra. And it's when that resonance happens, that is when it's the experience of, you said trance, happiness, trance, the mind is perfectly aligned. There are times when that resonance doesn't happen, is because we move out of our identity as a spiritual being into things from this world, which is really not our identity. Homework, some past memories, negativity about something, or a very joyful something, is an experience that is material. So the mind moves, actually it's like a toggle switch. In computer science people here, toggle. It's a 0-1 switch. Like that, the mind toggles from our true nature to an artificial nature. And mostly it's in the artificial side. By the Hare Krishna mantra, we're trying to bring our mind towards our actual identity. So think of it as spectacles. Some of us have spectacles. If the specs are dirty, you can't see them clearly. You see something. In addition to that, you see some other disturbances, right? These disturbances in our mind are the unwanted stuff on our glasses. Yeah, so you need to wipe it. And this wiping is think of it this way. When we meditate on this mantra, it wipes the mind. It removes. You said some negativities went away, remember? There is some trance. So it's a little way of removing the distractions in the mind so we can see clearly. It's from the mind's eye, if you will. We're trying to see who we are, our soul. So naturally in 10 minutes we cannot be self-realized. This is something that the sages and great thinkers have been practicing thousands and thousands of years along the way. Okay? Not that we have to do it for thousands of years. The point is, this is something that's been a tradition for many thousands of years. And this kind of meditation that we do individually for ourselves is called japa in Sanskrit. Japa meditation. Nowadays is very popular, called kirtan meditation. Kirtan means the same thing, but it is done together. We're all doing it together. Meaning one person calls out the mantra and the others respond. It's a call and response style. That's also very, very effective. And to enhance the mood or the resonance, it is set to a certain musical melody. And so the kirtan becomes, it reaches a crescendo. So we're not going to do kirtan today. We're going to do japa. Anyone else wants to share something?
At the beginning, I feel like a bit scared from around others' voice. But after a while, I have from my inner something like power to steer myself to let me think, to be happier, to be more positive.
Right.
To be happier and to get through something, just as you sir pointed out, something distracts ourselves from our way. So I think it's effective and meaningful.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Someone else?
I never thought I would say the same thing so many times. I didn't think I could do that. Even when learning my tables when I was a kid, I don't think I recited the table of 2 so many times. What actually makes the difference? I mean, what actually makes you say it so many times without feeling exhausted? Yeah.
That's correct. Very good. I really appreciate you bringing that up. Even if we tried, let's say we do the table of 2s, 2 times 2 is 4. You just repeat that 20 times and you're like bored like hell. So there's a difference between what is called material sound and spiritual sound. Material sound has a tendency to diminish. And then the spiritual sound has a tendency to expand. So you can repeat without feeling exhausted or bored. But if you try something material, like a new song, okay? Each of us has a particular genre of music that we like, and the song that's our favorite, right? When we hear that song, the first time it's really exciting. Like the second time it's really, really exciting. The third time is all right. But the 50th time, we look for the next new song. Correct? Because material sound has the tendency to, in economics we call it the law of diminishing marginal returns. That means for every extra unit, the output is less than the previous. This is law of economics. So if it works for money, it works for everything else as well. It's the sound, the material things, or chewing gum. We gave the example of chewing gum last time. When you first put in the stick, it's a burst of all whatever artificial flavors that are there in it, right? And we like the mint or whatever burst. And we chew more and we really get all the juices extracted and oh, it's really nice. But about 30 minutes later, all we're chewing upon is guar gum, right? There's no taste in it anymore. So what do? We spit it out. If you're in school, then you stick it to something. You spit it out. And so the same chewing gum, as you do more of the chewing, it loses its taste. And then you have to have a new stick of gum or a new whatever tablet with. And then it loses its taste. This is something, anything material. You were here last week. We said material goes through phases. It begins, it comes to a stage, and then it declines. Everything material goes through these phases. It declines. But spiritual sound doesn't decline like that. It's a different realm of sound. Nice. Thank you for sharing that experience. Anyone else?
I've done this before with your help, but one thing which I've always struggled with is knowing where the sound is coming from. I've often distorted my mouth a bit to say the mantra directly to my ear sometimes, but today I was quite acutely aware, and it was not dependent on the mouth or the ear, the locations, and it was more focused. I felt from inside I could hear what was going on. That was something great out of today.
There's a teacher, Acharya, called Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He describes that normally we make sound using the tongue. When it touches the palate and down, the sounds come because there are certain sounds, I forget all the nomenclatures, but sounds that come from the lip, sounds that come when the tongue touches the palate, guttural sounds, and then something even lower, right? But since this is meditational, it is actually that the sound comes from the depth of the soul. We don't have that full experience of that's where it's coming from. But as we practice, that's where it comes from. Remember resonance? So the sound actually resonates, it's in harmony with the soul. And that's the sound from there. It's a spiritual sound different from Coca-Cola. It's not coming from the depth of the soul. It's coming from Atlanta. Like that, it's different. Anyone else? Persons from song?
That's a very nice first minutes. I can't remember all things I need to read. And even when I close my eyes, I try to think about what is the table. And as a next minute, I can read it repeatedly. But I feel I softness of my breath. I can control my energy, and sometimes I feel I lack the power. I feel I cannot follow all the people around here.
Yeah, you don't have to follow all the people. Don't worry about that. You don't have to follow all the people. The reason we did in unison is just so that it'll be easier if you forget the mantra or something. And if you forget, open your eyes. It's right here. It's not like you have to suddenly 30 seconds, close your eyes. It's a pop quiz, you got to remember. Nothing like that. Who else felt their mouth was getting dry? I felt like that too. Did you feel like that? You want to share something?
Like in the beginning, it was, because like I've never heard this, so I was very conscious in pronouncing it and actually remembering it. But then like after a while, kind of get used to it, and then it's when I kind of started drifting out. In the beginning, I was thinking about like random stuff, but then I just kind of cleared my mind out, and I like that. I mean, it's pretty relaxing.
Only 3 words. Just organized in a way that's easy to remember. Okay. Something you noticed, unlike other meditational methodologies, you don't have to be an expert at Hatha Yoga, sitting in the lotus posture. If you can sit, that's great. It's not necessary. In this way, this modality is more inclusive, because there are certain people who cannot sit, who cannot bend their knees too much. So if you were to go to a yoga class and they say, oh, today we'll do peacock pose, most of us will have to leave the room. I know I'll have to leave the room, or whatever, lotus pose. But this is, you don't need to know language, you don't need to, it's not confined to language or region or posture, although sitting with the back erect is easier because we're trying this new. If the back is too reclined and the mind goes, I'm not going to get into the parapsychological aspects of things, but generally as the persons who are experts in understanding the mind, they say that by such repetition, not just this but anything else, repetition, the mind from a very like this stage starts becoming like that stage, and then slowly some of us felt a little calming, right? Actually, this calming, if it's not properly directed, it shifts into sleep mode, versus the great meditators, they take the calming mind into a contemplative stage where it is fixed, not shut off. So if the back's not straight, the tendency is that it, like this, it slips very easily into the sleep mode. So naturally, when we wake up, we say, wow, that was really nice. That's different. That was not meditation. That was called sedation. It's different from meditation. Meditation is where the mind becomes contemplative. Not contemplative on other things, but on the sound. Last week, we had done this as a preliminary, like a beginning, that to keep the mind focused, there is an intent, right? When we do something, we have an intention. Like let's say we get into the kitchen. I have an intention to cook. And throughout the cooking process, I have that intention clear, that I want to cook something. Because if I lose that intention for some reason, then I will leave things undone, right? Like this, meditation has an intention. The intention is, if it helps, now we're going to try again with a renewed sense of, I guess, intention, is I want to become pure. Because it's in the pure state that the realization of ourself is clearer. So when we think that I want to become pure, then our mind will come back to the sound of the mantra. This is why I'm doing it. Otherwise, what's the reason for doing it? I want to become pure. That helps the mind come back. It's the resonance. You hit the tuning fork, it's like that, brings the mind back to, oh, why I'm doing this? This is why. I want to become pure. I'm not repeating, please watch the video of the past 2 sessions. The impurity is the disturbances in the mind, the negativity. There are 3 categories of impurities for the sake of this discussion. The first category is called inertia. Inertia, we know in physics, right? Is that I try doing something, but the mind just does not cooperate. It's just doing its own little thing. And I cannot bring it from that state to doing what I want it to do. Yeah? I'm not explaining too much because we did all this, but so first is inertia. Second is inattention. inattention is that the mind will bring it and it goes away, flickers away. It very quickly runs away. And the third, which is a common problem, is indifference. Like, I don't care. We try something and it's I don't care. So these three, they actually inhibit from us training our mind to focus on something spiritually uplifting. We're not doing this meditation so that we have more concentration power. That's not the reason for doing it. And I'm not here to teach something so we can all focus on our math course or whatever course with greater concentration. I'm not here to teach this meditation so you have better blood pressure and greater libido. That's not the reason either. My purpose here is that to go something to significantly deeper and more substantial is to make a resonance with the soul. Because that's the truth or reality we're trying to connect to. So we'll try again. Yeah? 10 more minutes? Is that alright? Okay, so we'll do something a little differently. Because it was the first time, we were quite, vocal. So we will bring it to no silent. Please don't do this silently. It's the formula for falling asleep. Don't do it silently. It should be a soft murmur such that you can hear yourself. So when I do this every day, this is the pitch of the sound. Although there's no rule that this is what it should be. It just helps the mind focus. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. That I can hear myself. Yeah? And we'll do it at the same pace. Try as much as possible, for the sake of today's, to keep in unison, to do this unison. I think, Prabhu, you're a little on the faster side. Just slow down a little so you can be with others. Okay, back straight. Okay, let's start. You have beats? Okay, start. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Okay, we'll stop when we get a time. So, how was it this time? Did I want to become pure, bring the mind back? Easier? I'm sorry, I don't even know your name. You came in a little later.
Harish?
Harish? Okay. You want to share something?
Yeah, sure. This time it was really hard to do that. So I did it for some 2 to 3 minutes. So my mouth dried up. So I don't want to force myself to go even more. So that's I have to do it.
Okay. Anyone? Angie? Do you want to share?
It was different than the first time. Like the first time, because I didn't know the words. At the beginning, I was like trying to learn them and really focus on knowing them. But then when I got like used to them, I started like drifting away my mind, and then like when coming back, like I started to like stop saying the words, more listening to like everybody saying it, and kind of listening to me saying them in my mind. That was really like kind of calming. It was really nice. But then this time, I was just like listening a lot, and then really trying to like, whenever I heard like, I don't know, like Krishna trying to get like in the same tune as the other one, so it was harder for me to concentrate on that. But there were like some like little moments where my mind kind of was like really like blank, really nothing, and that was like really like calming. I was not even like saying the words, but it was just like really letting go.
And if you were to say the words, then the mind would be calmer even more. Very good.
Yeah.
Swapna, right?
Swati.
Swati.
So, when I was saying for a longer time, there's some kind of a vibration going on. You feel like really light. It's like a different feeling than sitting idle. And
Yeah.
more like when you chant.
That is correct. We practiced a week ago or 2 weeks ago. We tried the sitting idle meditation as well. While it is definitely also calming, it's not something that can sustain because you can't sit idle. So we discussed that the mind, like I said, goes through phases. From this phase, sitting idle means you bring it to neutrality. Now, neutrality is not something, you don't drive your car in neutral all the time. Correct? Neutral is, it's not forward nor backward, it's neutral. But you need it in neutral to get started, but you don't drive in neutral. You have to put it in gear. Like that, just sitting idly is only to bring the mind out of negative vibrations into a zero state. But you can't live in zero state. The mind is full of thoughts. So then you bring it to where to direct the thoughts. That's this. So this is more effective in that sense. Thank you for sharing. Chris, you want to say something?
It felt really warm.
It is hot.
No, like
No, I'm joking.
no, like right now when I'm sitting here, like when we're talking, I never felt the warm feeling. And then when I started chanting the mantra, like all of a sudden, like once in a while, just like a warm feeling rushes through my whole body. And it's not like it's not a hot feeling where you feel like it's too hot. It's not comfortable, but so it's like warm, but it's comfortable at the same time, even on a hot weather like now.
Right. That's nice experience. Our friend there.
For the first time I felt vibrations, and the second time it was calm, cool. It was like some cool breeze hitting me.
Yeah, warm.
So much calm.
Anyone else? Doran, Aditya, nothing?
And initially it was like, started chanting the mantra, image of Krishna and Ram kept coming into my mind. And then all of a sudden I started, then it was, saw the beads basically coming into my mind. Basically the feeling the beads. And it kept, vacillating between those two thoughts. And of course, like Chris said, the surge of some sort of a heat coming in, from within. That was there.
I want to thank you all for really. Pramod, you didn't say, would you like to? I didn't invite Kathleen.
I felt like second time was more comfortable for me, just because I didn't want to. First time I was trying to catch up with this pace, so that was like mind was focused both. Second time it was like I just want to hear my sound. Mind was going here and there, but it was easy for me to catch up with the flow. So I was having more peace about it.
Okay. If I would ask you, you don't have to say it, but just remember, what percent of the time that we were chanting this mantra, you think the mind was focused on the mantra? What percent of the time? 70%. That's very good. Usually my experience is it's about 40%. That's for very good practices, but 2 to 3. But if you felt 70, that's great. The idea is when it's like in a dark room, you don't know what all is there. You turn the light on, suddenly like, wow. Anyone feel like that about your room? Sometimes we look at our room and say, my gosh, what all have I collected? I never realized when I've collected all these things. Like that, the sound is like enlightenment, right? So you turn the light on and you suddenly realize, what all is there in my mind? My gosh, I've been picking and carrying so many things. I went to garage sales and picked up from other people's minds, other things, experience, and I'm carrying all of this. This is the weight we feel. And so when these things are removed, you feel light. Someone said light, right? So, hey, light. This is so nice. Because it's removing the things that don't need. When there's perfect resonance, other vibrations don't connect. Very good. So I thank you. You want to say something? You raised your hand. Can you say lunch? Okay. So I appreciate all of you taking the time to do this. I'd request you to return the beads. If you like to keep it, it comes with a condition. The condition is you will do this every day for 10 minutes. If not, then you return it. Otherwise, there's no money for it. You can keep if you like. It's not like if you don't, then you're going to get struck by lightning or something. It's my way of saying, encouraging you to do it. If you do take it, then please practice every day. Okay, we'll have lunch and then we'll talk more during lunch if you like. I have a next, I guess, supposedly a batch of other students coming in. So if you see them coming in, then I'll have to transition to them. So if they don't come in, then there's no rush. So please stay for lunch.